Well, happy Tuesday to everybody. Man, it's going to get hot and heavy in here as I sip on a little bit of tea because I want to talk about Brian Flores and what's going on here. I know we've had a lot of talk about the uh, Rooney Rule. Are things fair with Brian Flores, with him now accepting a job to be with the Steelers with Mike Tomlin? And this is a very complex type of topic because it hits different people in different ways. And so I just want to speak onto it a little bit, and maybe have you think about a few things a little bit. And I want to. It's easy to kind of take this, to take it, not make it about race, not make it about black people so much, because there's probably a lot of people who don't even realize that Flores is actually Latino. His parents are from they're Honduran, so it actually even makes it pretty special when you're talking about the success that he's had um, in the league. So I want you to keep that in mind when we're going through this, um, a little bit, because even when people start to talk about what is the Rooney Rule for, is it about African Americans, is it about um, all minorities? Because it seems like right away when you start talking about the Rooney Rule, people make it about African Americans and trying to get their job. And so even when I tweeted out about it, and don't forget you can find me at Teague Football, personally at Teague's Take, um, on if you're interested in our podcast. Um, but I said something about the Rooney Rule and why I didn't think it worked, and people start coming back at me. It's like, well, okay, well, what about the Asians, and what about the Hispanic coaches who aren't getting jobs and things of this nature? And I said that's not even what I wanted to go at with that. It was really about, um, most people try to put it back in the context of, well, there are such a high percentage of African American athletes in the National Football League, and you would think that because of that, there will be more African American coaches in leadership positions. Um, so, um, and I think that's what makes it a whole really touchy with some people, because the lenses kind of get shaded, tinted, dark, when you start talking about this. So, to me, what I want to hit on is, hey, you had a gentleman here who's, you know, regardless of what he's saying about the lawsuit and all that kind of stuff, you got a coach who worked his way up. It was interesting when you really think about what Flores has done. He started out as a special teams. I'm sorry, he was in the scouting department first. Then he did some special teams work for 3 years. Then he was a safeties coach for 4 years. Then he became a linebackers coach for another 3 or 4 years, and finally got his shot as a head coach in the National Football League. So he had all this tenure in the National Football League, and there are a lot of, and so he got his chance with the Miami Dolphins. Now, in the first 3 years, he went 5-11 the first year, 10-6, and then 9-7. So he did have two winning years. Um, okay, yeah, it maybe didn't break the barrier with getting 12 wins and all that kind of stuff. But you guys know about the Miami Dolphins and how hard it is to win down there and what their success rate has looked like over that. So, um, if you're just going on merit on with that stuff, you would think that he would probably had a little bit more time to try to build his team, build the organization up, because he was on the right track. Maybe there were some differences with him and the owner and all that kind of stuff. I don't know. Just when you look at the grand scheme of things, so I know I'm getting this all kind of convoluted a little bit, right? But when you look at the grand scheme of things, there are a lot of people who are coming into the National Football League that maybe don't even have national football experience, that get jobs, um, or people that might not have coordinators positions, just hadn't really worked their way up. So a lot of people, a lot of minorities are feeling like they're getting overlooked because they're putting in the work. a lot of times say, hey, you need some experience. You need to understand what's going on. You need to sit in the meetings. And someone like Flores and others, you can add whatever names that you want, okay? Because I don't want to just, I'm isolating on Flores because his situation is very particular and current with this because he took a job as a linebackers coach, senior defensive analyst, this kind of stuff. They add those titles so they can pay you appropriately. But it makes people say, well, why did he take that job? Was it good for him to take that job? Well, he's a coach. He's a coach and he wants to coach. So he's humble enough, seems like, to be able to go back and say, yeah, I can do this and I can be a linebackers coach. And big props to Mike Tomlin, um, for hiring him and bringing him in. And, because some people don't want to have another coach, head coach, strong personality around them or something. But Mike Tomlin has definitely given him a chance. So once you look at, remember what I said about Flores beginning years of what his record was? Tomlin kind of started out the same way in the beginning. His first year as a head coach, he was 10-6. Um, then he went 12-4. Then he went 9-7. Right. So the win loss records are pretty close when it started out with that. But you got two different organizations, with maybe different leadership styles, um, expectations. I don't know. But you got some guys here, one minority, both minorities, um, who started down this path, and one is really, really stuck, given opportunities to do that, and one that feel like it was put on him the wrong way, you know. Um, so, I'm glad he's in. The question really becomes: do you think Flores is going to have another job, another opportunity to be a head coach in the National Football League? And I think that's where it is gonna really start to tell, what's happening here. Maybe he doesn't because he, went on and decided to put out a lawsuit against the National Football League and some other teams. Maybe that hurts him or something of that nature, but he's still in the arena, right? So what I'm asking you guys to really think about is, does the Rooney Rule really work? Has it met the expectations of what it was set out to be? Did Brian Flores get a fair shake as a head coach with the Miami Dolphins, giving him the few years that he had to be there? I was listening to 105.3, The Fan. Um, they do a great job out here in Dallas. Um, and but it kind of got under my skin a little bit because one of the um, reporters, one of the announcers, was speaking about, well, I didn't know, we just don't know who he is. Maybe he's rude, maybe he's hard to work with, maybe he's doing, all this kind of stuff. And it's really like trying to paint a bad light on the Flores. And I thought, you say that about some of these other coaches who are hard to work with that we're hearing about that are hard asses, um, that maybe treat employees bad, that demand a certain type of excellence, want to have more, that maybe, they're most not delightful person in the meeting room, but they find a way to win games and all that kind of stuff. Because, see, a lot of times we get on this kick of the angry black man, the angry black woman, and all that kind of stuff, and we don't know how to handle them. Um, but we got to be, International Football League is kind of built upon your merits. Are you winning or losing? And he had won 2 straight years. Coming into a situation that wasn't like it was just great and all that kind of stuff. So, I am I these are polarizing type things when you start talking about race and should they have jobs and things of that nature. But Flores, his situation is different. He had some tough situations with quarterbacks, personnels. Most people don't even know. Sometimes head coaches don't even have the opportunity to bring in the guys that they want. You kind of have to play with the hand that you're dealt. You know, and I don't know, man. I don't know, man. I just think that, you know, I don't think any of us are saying that we need to have more, uh, that all the head coaches need to be African American or minority. It's just kind of hard for some people to really fathom and think about if the league is so dark, then why aren't there more um, minorities in leadership positions in the league? You know, I can't help but try to break it down really, really simple like this. When when you think of other sports where maybe the a different race is um, the majority, no one really questions about whether or not why minorities aren't um, coaches in water polo or hockey or crew or soccer or whatever. You know, if you insert African American in there anywhere that you want to, or any other race or ethnicity, um, we don't really think of it that way. It really comes up with football, and I think that's a valid point. There are a lot of African Americans that play football at the highest level, and it is hard sometimes to think, okay, if so many of us are able to play and execute that well, not everybody can coach. I got that. Not everybody, but there should be more of us who can coach and who can sit in those leadership positions as coordinators, offensively or defensively, and as head coaches, or maybe in front offices as well. Is it getting better? Absolutely. Not going to take that away. Is it getting better? Sure. But why? Why? What is the hold up for us to actually see why there is a barrier there for more minorities to get in head coaches positions and then stick and stay there? What is the real issue that we're having on why we cannot make this happen or make it work appropriately? So I don't know. Maybe you got some ideas. Maybe you got some comments. Maybe you got some thoughts that you can share back with me. Um, please do. Because, like I said, it's complex. I don't have the answers. I don't have all the answers. I just know what the optics look like, and I know that we need to do better because there's no reason that we couldn't be a little bit more diverse in this area. I think you can't force people to do stuff. You can't force people to hire people they don't want to hire. I got that. You know, sometimes maybe you got to look inwards, try to figure out what we're doing wrong and all that kind of stuff. Man, I'm not sitting here to try to judge or whatnot. I'm fortunate enough to be sitting in a chair, um, at a job where I probably broke some barriers there, right? Being an athletic director, being a head coach at a predominantly white establishment in school, and it's been that way my whole 20 years of doing this. So I can see it from the other side um, as well. But just when you get to the National Football League, I just think we got to really dissect what's really happening and try to figure out what their issue is. If you like what I'm talking about, hey, go ahead and subscribe. Uh, give us a like. Um, tell me what you think. Hit me in the comments. Find me on at Teague Football on Instagram, on Twitter as well. And I don't know. Tell me what you think, brother.